In this video, we're going to look at how you can evaluate each of the 6 trigonometric functions when you only know some information. By some information, I mean you might see something like this, where somebody will tell you that the sine of t is equal to perhaps minus 3/5, and they'll tell you that the angle t is in perhaps quadrant 3. When I have a problem like this, I'm always going to fall back on my two best friends in trigonometry. Those are the unit circle and a right triangle. So I will just draw a unit circle, and then I want to identify which of the quadrants t is in. T is quadrant 3, so I'll draw it really quick. And once I have the angle drawn, I can build a right triangle in this quadrant. The important thing when you do that is the triangle always has to come back to the x-axis to make a right angle here. And once you have that, then you can start figuring out the lengths of the sides and the length of the hypotenuse. To do that, I'm going to use my right triangle definitions. So I know that the sine of my angle is always the ratio of the opposite side to the hypotenuse. And I'll come down here in quadrant 3, using these guys as opposite and hypotenuse. Opposite the angle is 3. The hypotenuse must be 5. And then I have to find the length of this side of my triangle. To do that, I'll use the Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus b squared, 3 squared plus x squared, must be equal to the hypotenuse squared, which is 5 squared. So I'll get 9 plus x squared is 25. X squared must be 16, so x would be algebraically plus or minus 4. If this is just a triangle, this length would have to be positive 4. But I want to remember that I'm really looking at coordinates for a terminal point over here. So I'm going to think of the lengths of both of these sides as negative 4 and negative 3. Hypotenuse is still 5. Once I have these values, that is going to be the key right here to evaluating each of the trigonometric functions. So I know that the sine of t is negative 3/5. That was given to me. If I want to get the value of the cosecant function, well, I know that sine and cosecant are reciprocals, so I'll take the reciprocal of minus 3/5. That will be minus 5/3. When I want to find the cosine of t, I'll use my right triangle definition over here. I know the cosine is equal to the adjacent over the hypotenuse. The adjacent side is negative 4. The length of the hypotenuse is 5. If I want the secant function, I'll use the reciprocal property. Cosine and secant are reciprocals. Since cosine is minus 4/5, secant must be minus 5/4. Finally, when I want to get the tangent function, the tangent of t on a right triangle is defined as the ratio of the opposite side to the adjacent side. So I'll look over here, my opposite side is negative 3, my adjacent side is negative 4, so this would be negative 3 over negative 4, and since these are both negative, they'll divide out and I'll just get positive 3/4. Finally, if I want the value of the cotangent function, cotangent of t, I know that's the reciprocal of tangent, so the cotangent of t must be 4/3. So big things here that you want to remember. Draw a unit circle to identify where your triangle lives. That will eventually help you with the signs of all the coordinates x and y. And also you want to draw a right triangle, so when you only know, for instance, the value of the sine or the cosine, you'll know 2 of these sides. You can find the third one, which you're going to need for your other functions.